I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right. So I do not have an exit plan. Because of the issues and the complications and the fascination that coffee has for me. And I feel like I can continue to sort of do this for the rest of my life and still,
Mhm.
not have the answers. But that's what I love about it.
The Middle East is the origin of brewed coffee, and now it's also home to one of the world's most dynamic and misunderstood coffee markets. At Map It Forward, we're proud to launch the new direction for the Map It Forward Middle East podcast. New conversations in English exploring the businesses, people, and ideas shaping the future of coffee in the Middle East. You'll hear from values-driven founders, supply chain innovators, and entrepreneurs doing things differently, all with one goal in mind: conspiring to each other's success. Whether you're based in the Middle East or exploring how to bring your business to the region, this podcast offers real conversations that go beyond the headlines. Subscribe now by searching Map It Forward Middle East wherever you get your podcasts. Check the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 3 of an awesome 5-part series with Yozo from Kurasu in Kyoto. It's a global brand, and I had the pleasure of having my best coffee that I've drunk in Dubai from Kurasu, which is how I found the brand. And I've been delighted by everything I've learnt about Kurasu since. Today, we're going to talk with Yozo about building a solid brand before expanding. So in the next episode, we're going to talk about expanding it. But what's important, and the reason we wanted to talk about this, is you establish a brand, right? You've got to figure out if people want what you've got to sell. You've got to figure out if it actually solves a problem. And then you've got to grow it to make sure that the thing that you are doing is going to have legs for expansion. And once you grow it, then you can expand it. But most people start something, Yozo, and they say, okay, we did this thing, so now we're going to expand it all over the world. And so over the next 3 episodes, we're going to be talking about building, growing, and then expanding. So tell us how, could you tell everyone about the brand? Tell us about what Kurasu is, what it stands for, how you approach doing coffee.
Yeah, so I think I've touched on it throughout the episode, but I think what makes us unique is we started with doing coffee equipment. Right. So I think that is a really big part of who we are. So our partners are when we talk about expansion, so in Japan, half of our business is coffee equipment.
Oh, wow. So big a part of it. That's that's
so
interesting.
Coffee equipment and
Cafes.
the coffee roasting, coffee shop side, right? So it's not going to be the same for the different shops overseas. They're more focused on the coffee shop side, but I think a lot of people really know us from the coffee equipment side, and that home brewing, our focus on home brewing, our education side, because we used to do a lot of YouTube videos as well. That we
Oh, really?
When not as many people were doing YouTube.
Not everyone is doing it, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like podcasting.
Yeah. So that's another thing that people, especially in Asia, I think, maybe not as much in the States or Europe, but I think especially in Asia, other parts of Asia, a lot of people approach me similar to, I started, I bought my first origami, but I learned how to brew coffee through Kurasu, right, through YouTube. So thank you so much. I didn't know how to brew a pour over, and through Kurasu. So I feel like Kurasu, we really do. We have been, organically, we have been able to capture that part of the community that loves to brew coffee as well. So that makes that sets us unique in that part. And of course, again, we talk about Kyoto, we talk about Japan. I think the city, this country, the culture here, it sets the foundation of our values so much, right? So and at the same time, I would add, because I do have that international background,
Yeah.
right? So we try to merge those two. We of course have the base foundation of being a brand from Kyoto, but we are able to engage and have different perspectives and knowledge from all over the world, and we try to incorporate that into the brand. So I've always wanted to make, I touched on this briefly, but the reason why I felt like I wanted to do coffee, being in Sydney and seeing the scene in Melbourne, where coffee was not just one coffee shop, but it was more of a company where different people from different backgrounds, right? So they could be in marketing, they could be in sales, they could be in HR, accounting, whatever, but they have the love for coffee, right? So coffee is what bounds everyone together. And in Japan, at least, there is very few companies that do that, right? You have to either be a barista or roaster, and that's basically about it. So I've always wanted to build something where wanted to bring in talents and people that have passion about coffee, but maybe not want to, maybe are not comfortable working in a bar, or don't want to work in a bar or roast coffee. So I feel like Kurasu, we always try to be, I always one of our mission statements is be the new standard for coffee.
Oh, wow.
Is one of our
That's
mission
interesting.
statements. Yeah. So, and that goes, I think, in particular for the Japanese coffee community, right? Because we are, from an outside perspective, it might not be maybe something that's different per se. Having the equipment side, having, different people from different backgrounds working under the same, roof. But it does not happen, in Japan, at least. So we want to try to bring different values and different ideas and different backgrounds, and combine everything and have everyone sort of together through the love of coffee. So that's sort of how. Yeah.
So when you do that, do you look at this idea of, we have to set where the coffee industry, or not the standard, but when you're pioneering, when your intention is to pioneer in an industry, and it's quite a statement, right? Like you've you have the track record that says that you're able to do that you deserve to occupy that space for whatever that means, right? But when you approach holding yourself to that kind of standard, what are you looking for to be the next thing where you can raise the level? Are you looking for something specific? Does it come from you? Where does the inspiration for setting that next level come from every time? Because it's never stagnant, right?
It is never stagnant, but I feel like the end goal, maybe not the end goal. There's never going to be an end goal, I feel. But I feel like, because coffee is just so complex, right? And the issues that are bound for coffee is just, it's never ending, right? And that's.
Do you mean from a supply chain perspective or a business perspective, or which perspective? Sorry to interrupt you there, but I'm just trying to get it. Everything.
Everything, right?
Everything.
I think you would agree to that, right? It just when you talk about
I'm doing a little dance inside.
Of course, when you talk about the supply chain side, wow. Okay, that's something that we've we've more recently started to dive more deeper into, but that is like a that is something that is something that is just spans, obviously throughout the globe, right? So and the issues are so multifaceted, right? So that's something that really keeps me going, actually.
Really?
That's something that I feel like one thing that we do talk about, right, with friends from overseas,
Yeah.
like with the coffee roast. What's your exit plan, right?
Oh, so
Right.
when somebody
That's
buys a franchise, that's a question that you're asking.
No, sorry. I mean from other coffee roasters.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
my friends in the industry
Right.
are well established,
Okay.
coffee roasters that probably everyone here would know. Um, that
Why
question
is
does
that?
come up, right?
Why?
I feel it's because different reasons. I feel because it is so hard in a lot of different ways,
I'm
right?
glad
Coffee
we
is
got you saying that.
hard. Coffee is hard for sure. And of course, I think the maybe a lot of the companies that have set, started the movement have ended up that route, especially, brands from the States. And, the States itself is just a whole nother beast, right? Like in terms of the way of thinking, the economics and everything.
Yeah.
So having those, selling the brand is nothing, it's nothing new, right? It's
Right.
a norm, right? So it's not
Or an
that
intention.
does exactly that does not happen, or that's something that does not happen in Japan at all.
Yeah.
We like there is no, for better or for worse. And maybe sometimes it's better to in a way to have that mindset of what,
Yeah.
like how where am I going to go, um but anyway, for me, I always answer, at least for now, you never know, but at least for now, I want to do this for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
right? So I do not have an exit plan, because of the issues and the complications and the fascination that coffee has for me. And I feel like I can continue to sort of do this for the rest of my life and still, not have the answers. But that's what I love about it,
But
right?
it's sort of like going into a marriage, right? Like if you go into a marriage
Mm,
saying, well, this is divorce is an option,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Prenup.
Get a prenup, blah blah blah. If that's how you're going into a
Yeah,
relationship,
yeah,
well then if those cards are on the table, there's not really going to be a kind of like trust in a commitment.
sure,
But if you know
sure.
that this is for good, I'm not
Hmm.
advocating one way
Hmm.
or the other, folks.
Hmm.
If you go into something saying this is, no matter how
Hmm.
challenging that this
Hmm. Hmm.
gets,
Hmm.
these are the deal breakers. If you abuse me, if you this, if you blah blah blah, like this, I'm out if this happens. But other than that,
Hmm.
I'm here for the hard
Hmm.
times. I'm here for all of that. A business is going to teach you everything you never wanted to
Yeah,
know about
yeah,
yourself
yeah, exactly. And
in
but
ways you
yeah,
never even
going
thought possible, folks. Trust me. Like I'm
exactly,
telling you. Yeah.
exactly.
Anyway, go on. Sorry,
But
Yozo.
but yeah, but going back to your question, so for myself, as my
Yeah.
focus has been growth, has been opening shops in a sustainable fashion
Yeah.
and seeing where that takes us. Because I feel like not a lot of coffee companies have done that.
Say more. Say more
Well,
specifically.
I mean, sort of have been able to open multiple shops globally,
Yeah.
but not had I guess like funding outside investors or
Right.
private equity. or like selling the brand, because we do not have any intention to do so.
Yep.
So we are a franchise model, you know.
Yep.
But that was the reason why I chose that model, because we did have, as I guess fortunately, I guess we're lucky to sort of be in that position to be able to sort of have the different options, right? We have had talks about, okay, I want to invest, or like, can I?
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you have any intention of selling?
Yeah.
But I've always felt like, so right now I have for Kurasu as in Japan as a headquarters, we have zero outside investors.
Well done.
So it's 100% owned by myself.
Well done.
Right. Of course, we borrow money from the banks and all those different things, but
it's a part of
but
growing. Like you need to fund growth.
Of course, you need some finance, and of course and that's another interesting topic that I think we can talk about a lot. Financing, because financing Japan, because Japan has been in zero interest rate for such a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So we can borrow. So, and to give you specific numbers, maybe 1%, 1% to 2% per annum is pretty normal for our size business, or even below 1%.
Yeah. Wow.
When we talk about borrowing money, so it's quite,
which is
for
nothing
for us.
For people who don't realize that
less than 1%.
This is
crazy.
like almost close to free money.
Yeah.
Almost close to free money, which is what a lot of economies were operating on for the last 20 years. And those days will never come back. They've gone for good, but in Japan, they're still there. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite great. So we're an anomaly, right, in the developed countries around the world. But yeah, I want to sort of try to see how much. So the reason why we're trying to, for me, the reason why I want to try to grow is I really do want to try to build our supply chain.
Okay, that's the motivating kind of factor.
That is our biggest motivating factor, and to be able to, because I feel like that is in a lot, especially here in Japan, the bottleneck, or the dilemma I feel like roasters here have is because, yes, it is, a lot of the companies here and the roasters here are very focused on maybe one or two stores. There are very few shops, just very disciplined and very focused, keeping the quality very, very high.
Right.
But at the same time, that side of when you are doing when you are doing specialty coffee, and when you are, have that relationship with your supplier or the producers, and then when we talk about sort of sustainability, or trying to support producers and farmers, there's a sense that, from the conversations that I have, that they want to do more, but because of the limited sort of volume, there's only a limited amount of things and limited amount of options that you have. Right. So that is, I feel, a lot of people struggle with that here in Japan, because there is a really high sense of, trying to do good.
Okay.
Right. But at the same time, sometimes it's really, they have a hard time trying to approach that, or trying to really
figure out the
impact.
Logistics of how they can do something like that.
Exactly.
So when you say people want to do good, can we get some specifics around that? So are we talking about, so for example, are people in Japan focused on environmental sustainability and the impact of the way that their food, coffee being one of them, is grown? What kind of footprint that's going to leave? on the planet. Is that a big consideration in Japan or with the Japanese consumer?
Yeah, especially those are two different questions in a way, because the consumer side and the industry side are quite different, right? Because the consumers are, I think, relatively speaking, when I look at other, maybe like the States or whatever, I think people do have people do want to buy ethically or have a more sustainable source, but at the same time, their actions might be different, right? Because from the financial side, or the just how easy it is to get something from Amazon or whatever.
Right.
From the industry perspective, I feel, talking with different roasters, there is a very, very high appetite. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested to see how Map Before Japan does and how that's received in Japan, because I do feel a lot of people want to try to do more. There is a lot of interest in the supply chain in general, or how we can have a better a footprint, and buying ethically, sourcing ethically, sourcing from a sustainable sort of producer, how that money sort of goes back into, how much money goes back to the producer, how much, exactly. So there is a lot of interest. A lot of people are interested in that, and
but don't know how to do it.
But I feel like, one thing definitely would be, but I do feel the scale of it really does impact it, because when we talk about, I know a lot of people want to visit Origin, for example,
right?
But are not able to for different reasons. And it's interesting because it comes back to the way the Japanese coffee roasters are operating, because it's only one person, right?
Right.
When you're roasting and doing everything on your own, taking a week off is very, very hard. Yeah, it sort of impacts so many things.
Fascinating.
Because basically, everything, your income depends on it.
Yeah.
Right, you don't really have anyone working for you, so you can be the owner, you can be your owner, you could be, you could be the CEO of your company, but it's hard to visit. It's hard to, take a leave of absence, right? Or try to step out of your routine. So that prohibits you for doing different things. And then from the scale perspective, and then that goes back to the financial side as well, because of the amount of money that they are able to make, and the profits that they are able to make. They are able to make profits, they are able to sustain. But it's hard to sort of maybe reinvest, or sort of think outside of their, what their sort of their daily routine, I guess.
The business as usual is. You raised something really fascinating there, because this is a delineation. You made an interesting delineation, which was the difference between the way the consumer is approaching what like good business practices is, the way that they want to consume, versus what can the business actually provide for them. Another delineation you made was that the focus of the Japanese coffee culture as business owners is this approach to mastery. But that approach to mastery comes at a sacrifice, and it's the sacrifice of growth. So when your approach to business is having mastery in your craft, you may be able to create a sustainable business as usual practice. But the moment you lean into growing a business, you have to change the way that you do things. Because in order to grow, you need investment, you need access. Access is a currency these days that is becoming more and more necessary. Access to supply chains, access to information like podcasts like this, access to relationships, access to the people who can help you figure out what the difference between the right coffee to buy and the wrong coffee to buy is. Access to an understanding of, well, if I buy this coffee that's different than what everybody else is buying, am I going to be able to have a consumer that wants it? All of this growth, as we're talking about in this series with regards to what you're doing, is far harder to attain if you don't start with that mindset of the intention to do that, right? Which is what you're talking about.
Exactly. And it's so interesting because Japan is we're not a producing country, we're not a coffee producing country, but I feel like maybe some of the issues that in terms of the knowledge that a coffee producing country has, we have the same issues in a way because what I mentioned, because for example like expos.
Yep.
And I know how you feel about expos, but
I think people's got the wrong idea about how I feel about expos. That's another conversation. But keep going with what you're talking about.
But expos, there's hardly any Japanese that go to expos
outside of Japan.
Outside of Japan. Well, of course,
right?
Outside
SCAJ.
of Japan. And SCAJ, there of course they are, but I have been going to the different expos.
Yeah.
Over the past few years, but it's always maybe a few people, the same people that.
That's my problem with expos.
Exactly.
That's my problem.
But in different, I do see different people from different countries coming, but there's definitely the language barrier.
Right.
Right. There's definitely the financial side of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely, again, as I mentioned, time. They can't get out of their, their workflow. And again, the information just in general, like even online or, most of the information out there is in English.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a big reason why Keisuke wanted to do this with Mappa for Japan.
And I feel like Japan, even compared to other Asian countries, the level of English sort of literacy is quite low.
Oh.
Yeah. And I feel, and it's because there's a term in Japan, we say Galapagos. Do you know the Galapagos Islands?
Yeah, I have a genetics science degree, so the Galapagos Islands is
Galapagos Islands.
Connected to Darwin, yeah.
So a lot of we have this term, we say this term Galapagos a lot. Japan is Galapagos.
Why? Because of the diversity.
Because we have, and maybe that connects back with what I was talking about, us taking in different things and making our own. But Japan sort of evolves in its own way.
Oh, really?
Because we have a pretty sizable economy.
Yes.
Right. And we are obviously an island.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we are able to sustain within our own ecosystem. Right. A lot of other countries, maybe they need the trade, or they need to have education, or in order to step up, they need to have the education outside,
but you're self-sustaining.
But we are self-sustaining in a way, and that has its pros and cons. But so a lot of things. So English, for example, we don't, and maybe this is changing. Well, this is definitely changing, I think, towards the future. But we didn't really need English in order to sort of build our economy.
Yeah.
And so Japan has its own sort of unique way of things evolving within the country. Right. So when we talk about coffee, where again, Japan, we're not a coffee producing country, obviously, and a lot of things are happening outside of Japan. A lot of the information is very behind.
Well, and Japan's one of those unique cultures in the world, and I don't know another one like it, in the sense that when Japan does something, the world molds towards. Take Ghibli for an example. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so authentic the way that it is. And for those who don't know, go look it up. You will not regret a single second of anything you consumed from Ghibli. Labubu, on the other hand, you will. Do you know what labubus are?
I have no idea. What are
okay, I'm happy for you that you don't know what that is.
Okay.
I can tell you don't spend a lot of time on social media then.
I will look it up.
Don't do it to yourself, bro. Seriously. It is the most ridiculous fucking thing that has existed.
Okay.
No offense to anyone who's obsessed with Labubu, but I just don't understand it. But Ghibli, on the other hand, Ghibli is one of those things that is just the sweetest, most pure, beautiful thing that people decided that they would just absorb it the way that it was and take it in the subtitles. And of course, it eventually adapted. But it's this one of those examples, and Japan has a lot of those from what I've observed, where it set a cultural cadence that the rest of the world wanted to honor. I don't know another culture like that. And I guess it's one of those things where people just love going to Japan. People will tell you that you go to Japan because it's the last place in the world where respect exists and where people honor each other. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I've got to come. But at the same time, it's beautiful to watch people react towards Japan. And what I'm hearing you say through this conversation is that there seems to be a positive feedback loop happening through that exchange, where people are coming to Japan and being completely moved by that whole experience, right? But at the same time, they're leaving a mark on the coffee industry as that happens. And I guess when you are looking at what you've created, even though it started in Sydney, right? What you've created is very Japanese. And then when it leaves Japan, after you've cultivated and turned it into something that it is, it leaves and it takes the essence of Japan with it, even when there are not Japanese people that are running it.
Yeah.
But it's very clear what the Japanese part of Kurasu is.
Yeah, I hope that is the case. Obviously you visit our Dubai shop, but wherever shop that you go to, you feel that. And I do really try to create something that is that has best of both worlds in a sense. Like we do have that foundation of Japan, but I am also like I am very, very excited when I learn new things, or when something surprises me, or when I learn something that maybe proves me wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So in that sense, I do feel like localization is so important.
It's the cornerstone of culture.
Yeah. Because you sort of do. It can't just be about, oh, we're Kurasu, we're from Kyoto. Consume this, right? It has to be about, okay, we hope that we can give you this positive experience, and I hope that we can sort of give you some add some value, add some insights, but at the same time we want to learn more about your culture as well. We want to try to see how we can work with the whatever community that we are in, and try to work together and try to sort of move us forward.
So when you
Right.
say that you want to sort of be on the cutting edge and kind of make the experience better, that's the approach that you're talking about. Is it's a kind of the opposite of stubbornness. You know, there are some brands that are like, this is what we stand for. This is the only thing we will accept. And what you're saying is that's a bit fluid.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so hard as well, right? Being fluid. So that's what I'm trying to like figure out in terms of like expansion.
Yeah.
Having that fluidity, keeping the quality high.
Yeah.
Bringing
And being
in different
sustainable.
people, and just being sustainable, not selling out. There's a lot of things that, and then I feel like at the end of the day, if we are able to accomplish that, if you are able to sort of keep going forward, I know that we're gonna have some roadblocks ahead, but that's the way of life. But I feel like if we are able to sort of keep on moving forward, we might be the first coffee brand that is able to do that.
Okay, stop talking. We're going into the next episode because that's exactly where I want to pick that up because, oh my God, okay. Join us for the next episode, folks, because we're going to talk about growing Kurasu beyond its original concept. And I'm going to bring up another brand that some people think are synonymous with sort of like what Kurasu is doing, but it's so different. Anyway, join us for that. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.